real estate agents in general, the business that we do is such good content. Like
Right.
the houses that we see before and after, staging, the process, the problems that come up, all of it is such good content that if you're an agent, you're not making content about the things that you're experiencing every day. It's a shame, it's a waste.
Welcome to the Raquel Show. This show is for entrepreneurs who want to play bigger in business and in life. And as many of you all know, I love bringing people on the show that love to play bigger. And my guest continues to do that on so many levels. I met her a few years ago at an event, and she serves as the national president for a nonprofit that's dear to my heart, AREAA. And today we're going to talk about all things the power of community leverage, not only in terms of people, but also in terms of technology and how to utilize AI. So welcome to the show, Jamie Tian.
Thank you so much, Raquel. I'm so excited to be here. I think we met a few years ago at an event in NorCal, right?
Yeah,
Speaking on a panel, and that was so cool. So it's been a couple of years now, and I would love to catch up more.
I would love to catch up, and I want to cover so much, and I want to dive right into it. You co-founded a real estate brokerage called Realify. Did I say that right? Realty.
Realify.
Yep. And it's a
Yes.
company that what intrigued me about it. It's a company that's dedicated to revolutionizing the real estate experience and redefining how transactions take place and ensuring that the clients stay at the forefront. So I want to hear all about it because this was new, right? And what inspired you to start it?
Yeah, for sure. So I've been in the real estate industry for 12 years now. So I actually started when I was 20 years old. At the time, I was still going to UCLA. I had thought that I was going to pursue a career in law. So I was studying environmental science. I was working at a law firm kind of as an assistant just on the side during college. And my thought was always that I was going to go into environmental law. But while I was going to UCLA during my last year of my undergrad, I decided to just get my real estate license for fun. To be completely honest, I was watching Million Dollar Listing at the time. It was like a brand new show, right? And it was literally happening right outside of my campus. Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Holmby Hills, all the agents that were on the show, I would see their open house signs and I would actually see it happening right outside of campus. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. I want to get my real estate license for fun and just see what happens. So I got my real estate license and I just dove right into it and ended up not going to law school because I loved real estate so much. But at the time I had joined a firm called Realty, and it's a small boutique real estate company that's just in Los Angeles. And I stayed there for 10 years, believe it or not. Throughout the years, I interviewed with many different brokerages, really all of the ones out there, just to explore and feel out the difference. But I just wanted to do something different and on my own. I felt that I had gotten to the point where I didn't feel like the brokerages had enough to offer me versus what I was giving back to them. So I wanted to start my own team and do my own thing. And so I launched Realify Realty a little bit over a year ago, actually. Yeah, so it's been, I think, a year and 2 or 3 months. I launched it before my AREAA presidency started. I wanted to get everything going before I started my presidency because I knew I would be really busy with traveling and all of that. So that was part of what kind of motivated me to even do it faster because I had been thinking about it for many years, but I started my brokerage. So now we have a team of 25 agents. So most of us are in Los Angeles, but we have a couple agents in Orange County and actually in Northern California as well. Yeah, I'm really excited to be working with my team. And like you had mentioned, we like to be more modern and more forward thinking in the way that we do things at our brokerage. One of those aspects is, of course, marketing. So as we all know, online marketing and social media marketing is becoming more important than ever. So my team and I definitely do a lot of social media marketing just because we want to put ourselves out there as experts and showcase ourselves. I think I always tell people that of course, social media is a great way to get new leads and meet new people. And that is always a reason to do social media. However, a more important reason is number one, to validate yourself. A lot of these days when people meet you, they'll Google you, right? And probably one of the first things that will pop up are your social media accounts, actually, because they have the best algorithms and they're going to be at the top. Instagram, Facebook, those profiles will probably be at the top. So people are going to click on it and they want to validate who you are and make sure that you really are an expert in the area, a local market expert, and you know what you're talking about and that you're
Right.
doing deals and all of that, right? And they want to know who you are and your personality. And it's like a resume that people look at to see who you are,
Mhm.
especially in real estate. That's very important. But number three would be also to reach out to your personal sphere of influence. Of course, you all have your sphere of influence, but we're not every day asking them for leads or referrals and out there. So if you're posting all the time and doing that, then of course it helps with your marketing. So what we like to do as a team is I host what I call content making days a couple times a month, and I get everyone on the team together to just make content, and we'll host it at a staged property, an office, or something like that. But I get everyone together. I have the videographers and everything already there. We brainstorm scripts in advance, like individually and as groups, educational videos, funny videos, whatever, all of those things. And then we come together, we batch make content together.
So cool.
So it's more fun. And then we have content to post over like the next couple of weeks. And also, I'm in turn really teaching my agents how to make the content themselves as well on an everyday basis.
Yeah. That's
Um,
that's so key when you bring up like social media. I think it's totally changed in the last couple of years on how we market. If you would have told me that we would be shooting content or we'd be shooting videos or we would be a little bit of a creative director for marketing in real estate, like I would have never guessed it. And so where do you see today as we kind of look and fast forward in the future where social marketing or social media is going to go for real estate agents in the future?
I just only see it becoming more and more important, especially with the younger generation and everyone having very short attention spans, right? This short form video, I think, is going to become more and more popular. I think the younger generation watches YouTube more than TV, right? I feel like YouTube is going to become a huge aspect of lead generation for agents, just making short form videos and content on there. But really, just real estate agents in general, the business that we do is such good content. Like
Right.
the things that the houses that we see before and after, staging, the process, the problems that come up, all of it is such good content that if you're an agent, you're not making content about the things that you're experiencing every day. It's a shame, it's a waste.
Yeah, and you brought up YouTube, right? And there's different platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and there's probably going to be another one that comes out. What would you recommend to agents? Should they focus on all of them? Because I know YouTube is also a long game and it takes consistency with any of these platforms,
Yeah.
right? So would you focus on one of them or like how would your approach be to social media since you are very marketing focused and just
Yeah.
modernize technology?
I would say that I would focus on one or two of them because you do have to learn that platform and the style of that platform. It will be a little bit different. However, I think like regardless, you should still repurpose your content and post it everywhere,
Mhm.
right? So I think like when I make my content, I do have more like Instagram and Facebook in mind when I'm making content and reels, but
Mhm.
I still post it on TikTok and I because why not, right? And some of them hit and some of them don't. I'm not as well versed in TikTok as some of the younger generation, but it's I might as well use it there. And then I also post it on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Is like a platform that I think a lot of real estate agents overlook
Yeah.
because I think a lot of professionals think it's more for finding a job or and back in the day LinkedIn really was only used for when you were job searching or to post your resume and you really only updated it when you're going to look for a new job.
Right.
But these days, people are actually on LinkedIn. There's a news feed. People are watching videos on LinkedIn. And especially during the work week, I feel like people may be on LinkedIn more, maybe more appropriate to be on LinkedIn than on their phones on Instagram. So actually, I get a lot of interaction on my videos on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has the most professional type of users. And I forgot the statistics, but I think they said that there's 10 million C suite level entrepreneurs on LinkedIn. And so basically, I get a lot of more serious leads on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I think not a lot of people are posting videos on there as now they're starting to. But I think because of that, when you post interesting videos and content, it actually stands out a lot from the typical LinkedIn post that you see where people are just sharing articles and things like that.
Yeah. And speaking of LinkedIn, because it's a little bit of a different audience, especially like if you compare it to TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Do you change your videos or to basically fit, or do you pick certain ones that actually will go on that particular platform?
Yeah, I do. I would say in general, if I'm just making educational content about real estate, I think it's like fine for all platforms, but sometimes you make more funny videos or those trending kind of videos, and those are more for Instagram or TikTok, and probably not going to put that on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So you curate it a little bit, but I think that there is a lot of content that you can repurpose to all the platforms.
Yeah, what have been some of your favorite tools? Because we all know that real estate, there's a lot of things we can do in real estate. And obviously, this is a big bucket. Marketing is a big bucket in real estate to lead gen, to client interaction and engagement and nurturing. What have been some of your favorite tools that you'd love to share with the audience that like save you time?
Save me time. Yeah, definitely. We mentioned AI a little bit at the beginning. Obviously, AI, there's so many different types of AI tools that can save you time now. Just starting from the very basic, obviously the chat GPTs, right? And you could literally use it. It depends on how you learn to prompt it.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of classes and courses at conferences that we see about using AI and chat and these kinds of things. But then I think what people don't understand, they're like, it's not that useful. And that's because you're not giving it enough information, right?
Right.
So if you're asking it, for example, to draft a property description, you need to give it, of course, some information and what you want it to sound like. I
Yeah.
want to draft a property description. This is the price point. It's this kind of feel, blah, blah, blah. Give it the bullet list of the things and then have it go do it. Or for example, if maybe I'm preparing for a speech that's coming up as the AREAA national president. I wouldn't just tell chat like, hey, write me a speech, right? I would have to give it some background, right?
Right.
I'm the AREAA national president. This is what AREAA is. This is the event that is happening. Why is this event happening? Who am I going to be speaking to? Like
Yeah.
how long I want it to be, right? The more information you give it, the better outcome or output it will give you that will be more helpful to help you save time, right? Or
Right.
drafting an email and whatnot, giving it the background context.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think some other tools that are very interesting that are AI related come in the form of like photography or video, right? We use like AI tools now to even sometimes virtually stage properties when homeowners don't necessarily have the budget to stage. And in the past, it would look terrible, but now it looks amazing. Like you can't even tell the difference, right?
Yeah.
So that there's AI tools when you're making videos or making content on social media, like we were just talking about, ones that you can auto generate captions, or even sometimes you're making a video, it can translate it to another language and make your mouth even match up to the language. So it looks like you're speaking another language, right? Imagine like sometimes I work with a lot of Chinese clients, and although I can speak Mandarin, it's not as good as English, of course, right? Like, of course, I can hold a conversation, but I can't imagine trying to make a 60-second video in Mandarin. It'd be very difficult for me to do, right?
Right.
Like just on the spot, I'd have to probably take me hours of practice or something. So like just cool tools like that are able to open the world of what you're able to do with marketing and do it quickly. Um, Another AI tool that we've been using at our brokerage lately is called like Likely AI. And it's actually like a contact AI tool where you can match home buyers and home sellers. Like you can actually go in there and put like what your home buyer is looking for. And it would actually match like likely sellers that have a similar home to what your buyer is looking for, give you the contact info. So you could cold call those sellers and try to do like an off market deal. Just like a lot of really interesting tools that you can analyze data in a
For
much
sure.
faster way that can help your business.
Where do you see technology with AI going in our industry?
My whole thing is like our industry is screaming for transparency, right? I think
Mhm.
as evidenced by this whole commission lawsuit and kind of what's going on in the industry, because people have more information on the internet and they see what's going on, they're not so uneducated anymore.
Right.
People want everything to be very transparent. They want more data and information.
Right.
One of the things that my brokerage is working on is we're actually working on a tech platform for our brokerage. Actually, it's going to be for our brokerage partially, but also for all agents as well. And one of the most interesting components of it is a data component that we call estimate to earn. So basically, you're probably obviously familiar with AVM models, Zestimates, Realtor.com estimates, Redfin estimates, right? All of these AVM models are purely based on historical data points, right? So
Mhm.
they use their algorithm, they use the number of bedrooms, the square footage, the past sales to determine what they think this home should be worth.
Mhm.
However, of course, it could be highly inaccurate. We all know that Zillow's estimates could be 10, 20, 30% off sometimes, right? And it's because it's only a computer that's analyzing a home. And of course, a home has very like subjective
Right.
things like lighting, noise, finishes, besides for just the square footage and the number of bedrooms. So what we've created is a way for agents to actually, as they're going around to view homes, agents are going around to show homes and look at listings every day. But while they're there, agents actually have the local market knowledge to determine what the property value is. So basically, while they're there, they can actually check in on our app, give their estimate of what they think the home value is, and then we'll actually keep track of it and grade them when it closes, and then we'll see like how accurate they were to the final sales price, and they'll get a reward based on how accurate they are. But it's like a way for us to gather data from local market agents to present to consumers what local agents think the home value is. And then actually for agents, it's a way for them to practice comping homes, because most agents, when they show a home, they don't actually think about how much it's worth unless their client wants to make an offer.
Right.
And then they're like, their clients, hey, what do you think? You're like, oh, I don't know. I got to go home and do some research, and it takes them hours. But you really should be practicing every day, every single home you see, what you think the value is, and learning the value, so that the second you see a home, you just know because
Right.
you've seen so many homes. So
Yeah.
the idea is it's like a way for agents to show their value and practice valuing homes, and then get more accurate, and then for practice valuing homes, and the listings that are on the market are worth. We're kind of trying to make like a hybrid algorithm that will take into the human component.
Oh, so cool. Speaking of human component, right? There's all this technology. We leverage automation in our business to save us time. How do you leverage technology without losing that personal human touch or personal touch?
That's so true. It's so important. I think like a lot of the times it's easier to send a text message or send a
Email.
email,
Mhm.
but I think people definitely still value in-person conversations, and or even Zoom. If we can
Right.
see each other, it's better than if we can't see each other on the phone. So I try to do that, especially when I meet new clients, to either meet them in person or talk to them at least via Zoom so we can see each other. And it feels like a better conversation for some reason, especially like lately we've all been having a lot of conversations about getting these buyer representation agreements signed,
Mhm.
right? And I've done it in all formats. I've done it in person, on the phone, on Zoom, via text, via email. And most of the time, it's much easier and more successful if I'm able to talk to them in person or on Zoom versus on text message. Things can be misconstrued, or it sounds very demanding, or
Mhm.
they don't really understand or feel awkward to ask too many questions.
Right.
So I think, for example, those kind of conversations, they usually are better in person or on like via
On
Zoom.
Zoom. Yeah. So true. What advice would you give to agents that are hesitant about adoption, right? With some of these tools, with technology, with AI, with automation? Because I know that there's a lot, right? Like sometimes like we have all these tools, and when we look at our industry, it's just we have slow adoption, right? Because
Yeah.
people fear it, people are scared of it, especially as like the younger, like you said, the younger generation, like my kids' age, they don't care, right? Like they're going to be resourceful. That's like their everyday life.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, if you don't want to adopt these new tools and trends, you certainly don't have to.
Right.
You're not going to be as efficient, so you're not going to be able to do things as quickly and do as many deals as the agents that are adopting them.
Yeah.
And perhaps the older generation of clientele that those people are used to working with are okay with not having all of these tools and things like
Mhm.
that. But eventually, the younger generation is the main home buyer pool now, and it's going to become more and more, and then so they will get left behind, so to say,
Yeah.
if they don't adopt it sooner or later.
Yeah. So I want to switch gears because you've been a top agent. You're a co founder of a brokerage and you serve as the national president for AREAA. And most people, like I was telling you, serve like 1 year, but you'll be serving 2 years. So how do you like balance it all? And what inspired you to actually go and serve another term?
Yeah, for sure. When I first joined AREAA, I went to a local AREAA event. It was a LA chapter super summit. And I
Mhm.
thought it was just really about networking and educational kind of real estate type things. And that's what I was there for. I wanted to network, meet other agents, potentially do more deals. And but then when I went to my first AREAA national conference, it was actually in Vegas. I think that was Randy Char's exiting year. And that's when I like really learned about the mission of AREAA behind all of the events and all of that. And I learned about the mission of changing lives through real estate, of sustainable homeownership opportunities for underserved communities. And it really hit home for me, and it made me understand my own story that I never really thought too much about. So my parents came to the United States when I was 2 years old. At the time, they came to the United States because in China, you couldn't purchase a home. You couldn't purchase or even rent a home. It was basically assigned to you by the government. And they didn't have enough seniority in their jobs yet to get assigned anything. So we really didn't have a place to live. They live in the laboratory where they worked during the day. It was a structural engineering laboratory. And that's where I was born. And even though they were professors at a university and they had pretty good jobs, it was just like they didn't really know what the future looked like and what they were working towards. So they literally came to America for that American dream and the American dream of home ownership. And I didn't really realize that as a child growing up. I just like, we moved to America and it was what it was. We struggled and we got past it and we're okay now. We finally bought a home. But when I came to AREAA and I learned about the mission, I really realized that like the mission helps families like mine. And the struggles that my parents went through all was for home ownership, you know?
Right.
So my parents came to the United States when I was 2 and I stayed behind in China with my grandparents for a couple of years. When my parents came, they were getting their PhDs, they got settled. And then when they were getting close to graduating, I came to the United States and our family moved to California. And my parents worked for so many years. Literally, we lived in a studio apartment for so many years. My parents saved every penny so that they could buy a home in Irvine, which they everyone knew was like the best school district. And all they cared about was getting a home so that I could go to school in that school district for the education and for that American dream. And AREAA helped me learn the importance of what my family did for me and my sister. And I want to give back to my community and my people to be able to help them do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of fell into real estate really. Like I thought my parents are both engineers, civil engineers. I thought I was going to maybe go into law, but I got my real estate license and then I started selling homes. And I realized that as a real estate professional, I really do have that ability to help families get into their first home, build generational wealth, build equity, and change their lives. My parents, when I finally went to college and my sister went to college, they used the equity from our first home and refinanced to pay for both of our educations. And without that, we would probably be in debt and all of that. So it's an amazing opportunity that homeownership brings for families. And AREAA helped me find that story and realize that. So that's why I want to commit my time to give back and volunteer and serve.
What has been some of your initiatives that you've already accomplished this year, and what do you look forward to in your next term?
Yeah, so it's an ongoing thing that we're working on, and hopefully we'll see if we can get it resolved during my term or if it might take longer. But actually, around the country right now, there's a lot of discriminatory land laws that have popped up, and one of them being SB 264 in Florida. So, SB 264 basically prevents Chinese nationals and people from certain nationalities from buying real estate or all property in the state of Florida. That includes China, North Korea, Syria, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, Russia. So basically, they've created a map saying that you can't buy any property in the state of Florida that's like within a certain number of miles of a military zone. However, in the state of Florida, that's literally 99% of the state, besides for some of the swamplands. So basically, it means that they cannot buy any property in that state, even if they're here legally on a work visa, a student visa, any of those legal reasons to be here in the United States, they can't purchase a property. And it's very sad because when I think back to my family, it took us, I think, 13 years before we achieved citizenship after we immigrated to the United States, right? I mean, my parents came on a work visa. After many years, they were able to get a green card. And then after many years, they were able to attain citizenship. And if they hadn't been able to buy a home all of those years, by the time we became a citizen was like right before I went to college. Like we had already owned a home and built so much equity, and it changed my family's life for all those years that we were working in America legally and contributing to the U.S. society and not being able to purchase really would have limited our family. And AREAA has actually filed a lawsuit against the state of Florida to fight SB 264. And we're determined to bring down this law as well as 30 other states having similar copycat laws that are either have been passed or are being talked about being passed. Around the country, our chapters are trying to fight this. We've been able to defeat it in a couple of states, but it's an ongoing battle that I think may be for the next couple of years, unfortunately.
Yeah. First of all, I want to give my hats to you because I believe that it's people like you that allow us to have those types of opportunities. And I also think back, if my parents who were immigrants to this country, if they couldn't have purchased a home, I'm in a similar story where it's like we wouldn't have what we have today,
Yeah.
right? And they did it all in a limb of like a new country, not understanding the language, working at below minimum wage to just get their citizenship. And so I really want to give my hats off to AREAA, to you, for leading such an initiative that's going to impact and change so many lives. And I know that you guys have a conference. We have a conference coming up.
Yes, our AREAA National Conference, our annual conference of the year, is coming up from October 24th through 26th. It's going to be in Las Vegas. So AREAA is actually turning 21. It's our 21st anniversary. So it's very fitting that we're going to be celebrating in Vegas.
I didn't even
Caesar's
think of
Palace.
that.
I know, so we had to. So we're going to be at Caesar's Palace, and it's going to be so much fun. We're expecting over 1,200 attendees from all around the country, from our 45 chapters. So we're really excited to. I'm excited to see all of my old friends, meet new people, network. And our theme this year is reinvent. Basically, this whole industry is changing right now in many ways. So everyone can come and learn from each other and reinvent their businesses moving forward.
Oh my gosh, you have done so much in such a short period of time in your career. As you look back, what is something you wish you would have known sooner?
What I wish I would have known sooner. Yeah, that's a good question. I think when I was like younger in my career, I would probably spread myself too thin and then move on from things too quickly. Like we talked about it a couple of times during this podcast, even just consistency and like continuing things, right? Whatever you choose to do in life, be consistent about it and stick to it for a while, right? Even this whole like ARIA journey that I had, right? At the beginning, I was like very hesitant. I was like, I'll go to some events, but then I was like, okay, I love this organization. I'm gonna go full in and just stay consistent and be there for many years. And it has given back to me very much as well, to my career and to my professional network. I've known so many, met so many amazing new people that have changed my life. So I think whether that comes to lead generation, like starting a new business, taking on a volunteer role, or joining an organization or anything, I think like just stick to it and be consistent at it. And if you, as long as you're passionate about it, and don't expect things to happen so quickly.
Yeah, so what's next for Jamie? What are you most excited about that you're working on?
What is next? I'm just excited for this whole next year of my ARIA presidency, year two. I'm finishing up like Q2, I say now, so I'm going to go into Q3, and I'm excited to continue to visit all the chapters, and hopefully I have this unique opportunity to continue what I've been working on this last year, because the year goes by really quickly, as all the past presidents have told me. And you're trying to work on all these initiatives, and you can barely just get them started and it's over. I'm excited to continue that. Besides for the SB 264 lawsuit that we're working on, that's very important. Obviously, all these discriminatory land laws. We're also working on modernizing our organization as well, and modernizing the way that we communicate at ARIA. So we are trying to do more social media content, more videos, kind of modernizing our tech and all of that. So it's an ongoing project for the next couple of years as well.
You have dropped so many like nuggets, knowledge you've shared, you've contributed. Where can people connect with you?
Yeah, social media. I We were talking about the platforms, but I'm on most of the social media platforms. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can find me on all of them. So that's the best way. And my handle is, you can just look up Jamie Tian.
That's awesome. By the way, I have to ask, do you have somebody that manages all the things or you do it yourself?
You know what? I actually manage my social media myself. At a certain point, I'm sure I'll probably need someone to do it for me, but I really want to maintain the like authenticity of my social media. Especially, I think when people DM me, I don't want it to be an automatic message or like a VA that's responding. I want to actually engage with my followers, because if you do it authentically, it just works better. We all know the accounts that you can tell is being posted by an assistant, and you message them and it's like very generic response, and usually people are turned off by that. So,
For
yeah.
sure. As we wrap up, there's always one question that I ask every guest on the show is what does Jamie do to play bigger in business or in life?
I think it's all about mindset. I think staying positive and in a positive, good growth mindset every single day is really important. So I think when I wake up every morning, Like I make my bed. I start the day accomplishing something, right? And I read that in a book. I forgot who the quote was, but once you make your bed, you've already done something for the day. You could check something off your list. Makes you feel like you want to do that next thing. So I think like you're just having the right mindset every day when you wake up is the most important. Otherwise, we've all had those days where you wake up, you feel lazy, and then the whole day passes you by and then you didn't do anything
Right.
because you weren't in the right mindset when you woke up.
Yeah, so I love the whole mindset talk. And when challenges hit you, what's something that you do that you can share with our audience that help your mindset when things don't always go right?
I think I try to think about the big picture. Whatever challenges that I get in life, if I look at the big picture, then the challenge doesn't seem like the end of the world anymore. And I think about past challenges that I've had, and once they're over, it just seems like a past distant memory. I just try to stay calm, and sometimes I try to just give it some time because I
Right.
think a lot of the times when something challenging comes your way or something bad happens, immediately you're in shock and you're like in distress, and then whatever your immediate reactions or what you might respond may not be the best.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need to just give it some time, relax, think about it, think about the big picture, and realize that it's not that big of a deal, and then just figure out how to deal with it.
I love it. Jamie, I want to say thank you so much for being on our show. I so appreciate you being on our show, appreciate all the things that you're up to and how you continue to keep showing up. And I'm excited to always support you in playing bigger, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm so excited. I'm honored to be on your show, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person in Vegas.
See you in Vegas.